Super Mario Bros. Wonder is out now, and apparently, it's a certified banger. But what do we think of the game's new art style? Is this potentially the best the plumber has ever looked? I'm obsessed with character design and graphics, so why don't we take a look? So at the point of making this video, disclaimer, I've not played the full game yet, though I did play a demo when I recently attended EGX here in London. All I can say is, it was a Mario game, I had fun playing it, but weirdly, the game is not really what I'm excited about. I'm excited about this new redesigned 2D Mario the character and franchise has been given, and with trailers and reviews and even Twitter videos zooming in on elements of the design, I just can't help but talk about it. However, before we talk about the good, we've got to talk about what came before. I don't mean to start on a semi-negative point, but let's face it, one of the key highlights of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, to me at a glance, is simply that its art direction isn't stale. The new Super Mario Bros. Series debuted on the Nintendo DS, and at the time of this, I remember being really impressed with the visual style of it. Mario had gone on an interesting design evolution up until this point. I covered this at great length in my old Best Mario Design video, but in a nutshell, his 2D form had gone on quite the logical 2D journey. Primitive 8-bit sprites evolved into more detailed 8-bit sprites, which then became more advanced with future entries and an extra 8 bits. 3D polygons being applied to this format on the DS was really interesting, reflecting the changes that had happened to Mario across some of his notable 3D entries, and rethinking how it would look if it was based in a classic side-scroller. Mario had grown up and was returning to his roots. The DS had also launched with a port of Super Mario 64, so it felt as if the game was still in the video game's present-day zeitgeist. To me, I looked at the design and the way the gameplay had been changed along with it, with Mario now being able to jump higher and triple jump based on his speed and precision, and when I'd look at that game I'd think, this looks and feels like Mario 64 Mario in a 2D Mario game. That's pretty cool. And it was cool, until they did it for 13 years straight. The new Super Mario Bros. Series of games spawned 6 official releases in this time frame, with the most recent half being DLCs or ports to modern platforms. While graphics had improved, and Mario's depiction had become perhaps more in tune with his always present 3D promotional art, he was in line with how he appeared across his multitude of titles, but this direction just didn't change. Perhaps it's a result of porting an old game to a new system in New Super Mario Bros. U, whilst Mario Odyssey was changing things up and throwing the character into realistic textures and even crazier settings. The series about giant mushrooms, power-ups, and whatever these things are, had somehow become a bit stale. When you look at some of the most favourable Mario games over the decades and how they've looked, it was usually the ones that experimented a bit with the art direction that was always remembered so fondly. So it really felt like 2D Mario was missing the bar here. So what exactly has Wonder done to Mario's design? At a glance you might say, these are the same. What are you talking about? You're just stretching this out into a video about nothing. But if we dig closer, or you're obsessed with design to almost an exhausting degree, and let's face it, you are if you're still watching this channel, it's apparent how much Mario has changed since his last Wii U 2D depiction. No mistakes about it, this is still a 3D Mario model. But while the new Mario Bros. Series felt like we were turning a 3D model on its side in Blender, this new model has been made to be displayed from a slightly new perspective. It's on its side, but angled to show more of Mario's face, meaning we can more clearly see his front profile as well as his side. The thing I love most about this change is, for the first time ever, the way Mario moves and is displayed is totally in line with his classic promo artwork. Across the Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, even up to the more modern titles, he's always kind of been depicted in this way while moving, so it's a stylized change that adds tons of character in-game as well, versus standing very normally to one side. The new angle also allows for much more character moments when Mario performs actions. A jump in New Super Mario Bros. Is pretty lifeless outside of the key jumping movement. In Wonder, Mario's expression changes, his mouth opens wide, and I almost feel like I'm back looking at this clock I owned in my childhood. Topping off the change to perspective is a new, almost airbrush look to Mario's model, using shading to elicit a style that we haven't seen in a Mario game thus far. It's very reminiscent of Rayman Legends, which again, was an out-of-this-world style 2D romp, and that vibe blends in very well with the trippy adventure Mario and his friends are headed on. Perhaps not as noticeable as the new POV and style is Mario's slightly condensed proportions. No, I'm not suggesting this is anywhere near as close to the upcoming Super Mario RPG remake, but Mario's limbs are noticeably a bit shorter and his overall appearance feels stockier. It isn't just the length of his limbs either, it's the stance he takes. A bending of the knees makes him appear shorter even if he technically isn't all that much. This again pulls him back in the direction of a form factor established in the classic titles, when he just simply didn't have the pixel space to have longer limbs, and it's perhaps an apt choice for this model because it reflects his jump functioning, which is similar to those games rather than the new Mario Bros. Series. While not a literal part of his character design, but animation is by and far the biggest element of Super Mario Bros. Wonder that is lifting up the whole experience. I'm not usually one to go in depth in animation. There are other channels who can do that much better than me, but just at a glance you can see how much more expression, more frames of animation adds to the character along with his transformations. These couple well with these elements to pull together the design as a complete package. The debate is out as to whether pixel art for Mario is superior to this. Let me know if you would still prefer that pixel look for your Mario games. But this is a huge step up from previous entries, and for sure the best 2D Marios ever looked in my eyes. That's one hell of an achievement. Mario's design alone isn't the only graphical standout of Wonder, but in collaboration with the art direction, animation, enemy, level and world design is a huge part of what makes it stand out to me from the offset. So, as I've said, outside of a short demo experience, I've not played this game yet. And truthfully, whilst I love all these changes, especially Mario's new side profile, the way he's animated, the way this looks to be a reimagining of all those classic artworks, I'm still not in any rush to play this game either. It's been a huge year for video games in general, and I have far too much of a backlog to play any new stuff at present. What I can say though is I'm mega excited to finally play Mario Wonder at some point in the future. I can quite openly state that visually speaking, this is the most interesting and exciting 2D Mario has ever looked to me since I was a child, and if I'm getting that feeling just from trailers and a 10-minute demo experience, it's obvious that those who are playing it right now are in for a visual treat. My only hope is the next 2D Mario continues with this template but applies it differently, keeping the side profile but mixing up those visual elements, settings and enemies. Imagine the return of the Tanuki power-up or Mario World's cape. Please give me a game that completes this vision and turns this artwork into something full of life, basically. Please don't bury Wonder's uniqueness and style into the ground. So what do you think of Super Mario Bros. Wonder? Have you played it yet? Do you miss the visual direction of the previous titles? Let me know in the comments section. And hey, if there are any other Mario characters you want to see get the best design treatment, let me know. I'm really leaning towards one of these guys, but I can't decide who to do from this franchise next. In the meantime, I'm going to have a big variety of content dropping soon. I'll tease it out via my community tab and a few shorts here and there, but I'm stoked to be back on a content journey with all of you. Thanks for turning up, those of you who have. I really appreciate the patience over what feels like a year of actual proper content from me. Big thanks also go to my patrons who have been supporting this channel for the longest time possible and have really helped contribute over the years, with a special shout out going to Samston, who's donating at the art producer tier. If you want early access to my videos as well as some other perks, please consider donating on Patreon, and regardless, check back soon as we look further into the design and visual style of video games across the years.